What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90, and it is time for week 35 of the Premier League prediction show on the channel. And today I'm going to start off by giving a massive shout out to Khalib Ransom, who left his predictions very early, within the first like 10 minutes on the previous episode of the Premier League predictions on the channel. So if you want to be featured in the next episode of the Premier League predictions on the Full 90, then be sure to leave it your predictions for the games you think, or how you think the games are going to go, the ones that I'm mentioning in this video, because for this video we've got a few postponed fixtures from week 31. We also have Brighton versus Cardiff, but by the time this video is uploaded that game would have already happened, so I'm kind of just gonna leave that one out. If I had to pick one now, you already know the result of the Brighton Cardiff game. I would say either 2-1 Brighton or 1-0 Brighton. So I don't know if one of those happens, I'll take it as a win, but not officially in the video. But yeah, so there are going to be some week 31 postponed fixtures that are happening after the week 35 games that I'm going to cover at the end of this video, including the very final one, the Manchester derby, that of course you saw in the thumbnail. So leave a like on the video, subscribe to the Full 90, and turn on the bell so you don't miss a single upload. Now, of course, as some of you may know, I'm going away on holiday, so I'm pre-recording this video week 35 before week 34 happens, so bear with me. I don't know some previous results, but let's get into it. So kicking off, we have Manchester City versus Tottenham. Now, at the time of recording, Tottenham are 1-0 up on aggregate after winning the first leg in the Champions League quarter-final. So I don't know how the second leg went. And this is their then fixture in the Premier League. So given the way that Man City played against Tottenham, and obviously the fact that they have to juggle the Champions League, they're going to go all out for the quarter-final second leg. They've got the FA Cup final to think about in the distant future, of course. I can't imagine that'll play too much of a strain on the squad at this point, but, you know, it's all in the back of their mind, because at the time of recording, the quadruple is still on for them. So if for some reason Pep Guardiola does what he did against Tottenham in the Champions League quarter-final first leg, I don't see Manchester City winning this. I know it's at the Etihad, but I'm going to go for a ballsy prediction and say that Man City are not going to win at the Etihad. I don't think I've ever predicted that. I've never predicted a Man City loss, maybe not even a draw, but I'm predicting that it's going to be a 1-1 between Man City and Tottenham. And Harry Kane at this point is still suffering a bad injury, but I said this on Twitter, I said this before in videos, Tottenham seem to play better without Harry Kane because they all seem to step up, and it's statistically proven this season that Tottenham have a higher win rate without Harry Kane. So I genuinely think that Tottenham play better as a unit without Harry Kane. Don't get me wrong, they should have him in there when he's there, despite technically losing or dropping more points with him there. But I just think the likes of Son and Eriksen just play so much better. And like I said, if Guardiola does what he does in the quarterfinal first leg, and just, you know, plays a very odd team. I think Bernardo Silva was out injured, but bringing on Sane and Kevin De Bruyne with 5 minutes to go is just ridiculous. And just the whole play style, you get to that stage of the tournament and where you are in the Premier League playing attacking, pressing football. So let's just sit back and let Tottenham play a little bit. I don't understand that. I don't necessarily think Pochettino outclassed his opponent in as much as Pep Guardiola just messed up, I think, in that game. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Man City and Tottenham here. The next game is Huddersfield versus Watford. I'm going to rush through these games because there's 14 fixtures on here. I know I spoke a lot about Man City and Tottenham, but we'll try and rush through them. Huddersfield versus Watford. I think Watford are doing great. Obviously, they're into the FA Cup finals now. They're pushing for the best of the rest position at 7th place, and Huddersfield are down and out, losing all their games. Not the whole year, but they lose a lot of games. And I'm going for a convincing Watford win, 3-0 away to them. So after that, it is West Ham versus Leicester. West Ham are in a very bad run of form, and Leicester in a very good run of form, again like Watford, pushing for 7th place. So I'm going to go for a tight one. West Ham do tend to perform better at home, so I'm going to go for, yeah, a close call, but I'm going to go with a Leicester away win here, 2-1 to Brendan Rodgers, not Brenda's Rodgers, Brendan Rodgers and his men in that one. The next game is Bournemouth versus Fulham. Fulham, they're in dreadful form, already relegated, but Bournemouth are also in very bad form. They've really not been doing particularly well, so I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw between the two teams. Because as we know, Fulham have attacking potential, as do Bournemouth. If anything, it's weird. Bournemouth and Fulham are very similar sort of sides. Pretty good going forward for the most part, but pretty shaky at the back, or at least Bournemouth have been lately. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Bournemouth's ground just kind of leaks goals as well. It's a smaller ground. The atmosphere is there. It just feels like it's easier to go from end to end to get all those goals. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw between the two teams. The next game is Wolves versus Brighton. Now, Brighton have been a little bit up and down. Their away form is not the best. I've said that way too many times. Wolves have had a fantastic season and were unlucky in the end. Deservedly, like they deserved to go out against Watford in the semi-final because they conceded those 3 goals, but put up a very good show, and they always do. They're performing well. They do tend to slip up against lesser teams. However, I don't see it happening here. I'm going to go for a fairly comfortable 2-0 win to Wolverhampton Wanderers. The next game is Newcastle versus Southampton. Southampton, they're performing well, but not really getting the results. Newcastle, they had a good run at home recently, but away they are still a bit shaky. But I think their home form is going to mean they're definitely not going to lose this one. They obviously could do, but I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Yes, I'm sitting on the fence again. Coming up, we have Everton against Manchester United, and I'm going to go for a shock result. Okay, honestly, I could shock result this either way. I could say 3-0 win to Man United, but I've been very impressed with Everton lately. I saw the way they played against Arsenal. Arsenal played bad, very bad. I'm going to go with an Everton win. Can Man United beat Everton away from home? Yes, of course they can. Will they? Possibly. I would say Man United are probably the slight favourites in that game. But I'm going to go with an Everton win, a 1-0 win, just like they did to Arsenal. Obviously, you'd expect a team like Man United to get a goal, but you'd expect a team like Arsenal to get a goal away from home, you know? And I think I'm going to try and take a leaf out of that book. Everton have kept a lot of clean sheets lately. They found some good form. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Everton. What a prediction that would be to get right. But Man United fans, don't slate me. I'm very interested in Man United. And I've loved watching their journey for this season. So yeah, nothing against you. Just why not? The next game is Cardiff against Liverpool. Obviously, although it is only Cardiff, Cardiff are fighting for relegation survival, and Liverpool are fighting for the title. I think Liverpool will relish the chance to crush a team like Cardiff and really put another statement out to Man City and put them in a good position to keep fighting for that league. And if Man City do draw against Tottenham, then Liverpool will be able to take top spot. That is, of course, assuming that the Man City beat Palace and Liverpool beat Chelsea like I predicted in the previous week. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Liverpool. The next game is Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. It's about time Arsenal get some form. I predicted that they would draw against Watford in the previous game. The Europa League, I predicted they would eventually qualify against Napoli by 1 goal, but Napoli are a great team. That might not happen. And to be honest, this shirt kind of looks like Napoli's kit, doesn't it? A little bit. But for this game, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, although Palace have performed a little bit better away than they have at home, Arsenal perform way better at home than they do away. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to the Gunners. The next fixture is Chelsea versus Burnley. Burnley have had a very topsy-turvy season. All in all, not very good. Chelsea also a topsy-turvy season. They started off being one of the teams to have the longest unbeaten run in the league. Like one of the last teams to lose a game behind Liverpool, I think. And they're starting to look a little bit better lately since they've, you know, trialled out Hudson-Odoi, Loftus-Cheek. They look a bit better. I've watched a few games and I haven't really seen much of Marcus Alonso. Have they finally, like, binned him as a player? I don't really know much about Chelsea as much as I do about Arsenal or Man United or Liverpool. But I think Chelsea are looking good. And at Stamford Bridge, they're definitely going to have enough to beat Burnley. Burnley do get the odd goal here and there. They score goals. So I'm going to go with Chelsea to win, both teams to score. 3-1 to Chelsea. Now we move on to the postponed fixtures from week 31. Kicking it off, we have Watford versus Southampton. This is going to be a goal fest. I'm going to say it right now. You know, sometimes Southampton, they get a 1-0 win. Watford get a 1-0 win. I'm just going to swap it all up and say that there's going to be 5 goals in this game, and I'm going for a 3-2 home win to Watford. Oh my gosh. This one really was just a gut instinct. I just really feel like there's going to be a goal. I have no reasonable, rational explanation for this. I just feel like a goal fest is coming. Southampton love to go forward. Watford love to go forward. They let in goals occasionally in the league, that is. Watford have been very solid in the FA Cup. I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Watford. I can't really explain it much more. The next game is Tottenham versus Brighton. Tottenham at home, obviously. And I'm going to go for a simple win for Tottenham here. Like I said, even without Harry Kane, I think they can do it. I think they're very much capable. Brighton away, not that great. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Tottenham in this one. Now, the next game is Wolves versus Arsenal. Similar to the way I predicted a 2-2 draw with Watford away for Arsenal. I just really haven't seen any sort of good away form, you know. At this point in time recording, they lost to Borisov away, they lost to Rennes away, they lost to Everton away, and the last time they won away was when I correctly predicted them to beat Huddersfield 2-1, and that's Huddersfield. We're talking about Wolves now, who are specialists at taking points from the top 6. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw at Molineux. A frustrating day for Arsenal. I'm going with Arsenal to have the possession, to have more shots, but not to be clinical enough in the way that Liverpool and Man City would usually be to get the 3 points, making top 4 very interesting, but I'm going for a 1-1 draw there. The final game is Manchester United versus Manchester City, the Manchester Derby. This is going to be a very, very tough game, and I think this is going to be huge because Man United, I'd imagine they know their Champions League fate. At the time of recording, it's 1-0 to Barcelona at half-time, although Man United have looked fairly decent in the first half, amongst a few mistakes, but they looked all right. But I'd imagine they know that they're out the Champions League, I'm guessing, okay? And they're going to be fully focused on top 4, but, you know, not only that, they want to beat Manchester. And although they'll say they don't want Liverpool to win the league, they don't want Man City to win the quadruple, they don't want Man City to win the league really either, they're just going to try and win. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Yep, I think Manchester City are going to be able to go to Old Trafford and just get a win, perhaps a 1-1 half-time, 2-1 full-time, or a 0-0 half-time and 2-1 full-time. I'm going for a 2-1 Manchester City win. So that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe today, turn on the bell so you don't miss a single full 90 upload. We've got semi-finals of the Europa League and Champions League coming up. We've got the FA Cup final coming up. And of course, the last few weeks of the Premier League. So yeah, I am going to, I'm going to go edit this now. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one very soon.